We are back with another edition of Keeping Up with Cherokee County Athletics. And like we said when this thing started, Coach, if you guys keep winning, we're going to be here each and every Tuesday throughout the playoffs, all the way to Tuscaloosa. And, God willing, you guys make it that far. It'll be a blessing to all of us. We'll get to keep working, and you guys get to keep winning. This time I want to thank Gadsden Golf Carts for their continued support of Cherokee County Athletics. They've been phenomenal for us all season. And keeping up with these student athletes here at Cherokee County, and we can't thank them enough. Coach, last week you guys had a big win. You was playing a real physical team last week, and you knew going into that they was going to run a wing tee, and they was going to be very physical. They was going to challenge you defensively, especially that being Central Florence. But you guys got out of there with a big win last week. Take us back to last Friday night and how it all transpired.
Well, it was a good win being on in the second round, but we didn't play especially well. I felt like we sleepwalked a little bit, and for whatever reason that is, the guys can only tell you. I thought they were prepared to play, but when you face an offense like Central runs in the wing tee, and we talked a little bit about the speed of kind of the difference between Alexandria wing tee, which is based out of kind of like the shotgun, and then being under center. It just, the speed of it changes so much, and how we defended a little bit during practice during the week. I felt like we probably did best defending it Wednesday, but Friday, for whatever reason, we didn't play with the physicality and the speed from a defensive standpoint that you need to really shut it down. We did at times, but it's all about the guys and what they want to do. We challenged them yesterday to get the standard back, because the way we played defensively, we gave up more total yards last week than we have any game in the entire season, almost in the last 2.5 years, just Friday night. And so really, it's unacceptable. It felt like a loss from the defensive side of the ball. The coaches didn't sleep very good. I knew exactly what the problem was on film, and it's lies in the mirror with our guys. If they don't want to be physical, two things going to happen. You can deliver, you can receive. But in a football game in the playoffs with 32 teams and 6 teams left now, somebody's going to get hit. Right. Somebody's going to be physical. Somebody wants it. And if you don't, the other ones do. And so, for whatever reason, but on the flip side, offense, we did a good job of winning the line of scrimmage, getting our guys loose. Jacob had like 18 carries for 313 yards and 5 touchdowns, and Tittle was 4 for 4 passing with a little over 100 yards. We had a couple, Ben Mosley, Frampton, Chestnut, those guys are doing a great job of coming into their own and just being where they're supposed to be, hitting landmarks. But I'll tell you another thing. I watched those guys block on the perimeter, and they got after it, and that's, to me, when you've got an offense that doesn't have a lot of opportunities to catch, but they make the most out of the opportunities, and then the other times where they're not getting the ball, they're freaking fighting their tails off on the perimeter blocking. To me, that says a lot about how we're together on that side of the ball. Special teams is okay.
That's what keeps big runs.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. And so I was proud of them and the job that we had. I mean, when you give up 28 points, you better score some points because to us, it's a lot. And, Central came in here and fought their daggone tails off, got after us. Ain't nobody scared of us in the sense of maybe that's why we came out and played that we did. Everybody wants a piece of you. Yeah. If they're a competitor, if they're left in this state, same thing with Haleyville coming in here Friday night. They're looking at this thing as a way to knock off not necessarily the top dog, but the defending North champions, and they got goals too. And so again, if you don't want the opportunity and you're going to take advantage of it, somebody else will. I can promise you that.
How alarming was it to you when you seen the defensive footage? Was it like a DEFCON 5, like we got to get this fixed immediately, or do you knew it was a soul-searching type thing?
I knew exactly what it was. I mean, because the thing is we've seen the type of defense we can be, and we've seen what we can do to other people. But when we're second to contact, when we're not the ones that are delivering, when we're not taking on our keys, our reads, a down block, next man's coming, are you receiving that guy or are you attacking that guy? The way we tackled, I think one of the things from the stands comments I heard is this looks like Halloween because we're doing nothing but reaching and grabbing. It looks like we're trick-or-treating out there. I think that was one.
That's
and
awesome.
there was a lot of receipts that we could use on our receipt board over there on what your opposing coaches think about you, what your fans think about you, what your opponents think about you.
That's awesome.
And so, by God, we've heard enough in talking season of how good we are. So it's good to, it's kind of like the Fort Payne thing. There's a lot of good to be had from something like that. And there was a lot of things that we could take as motivation from last week and the performance that we had and didn't have. And so, but all being said, we practiced really physical and really well yesterday. And I think the players understand that there is a standard here.
That's right.
And that just because I did a lot of good things yesterday in 22 and I'm a senior does not mean that we won't sit your tail on that sideline and play a freshman if you ain't getting it done.
That's right.
And so that's good to have competition and the next guy up.
This week you got Haleyville coming up. What have you seen from them on film? I know they've had a pretty good year and obviously a good team. They're over into the Sweet 16, so to speak.
Well, they were kind of in the three-way tie for the Region 5 championship with Corner and Dora. Dora beat them. Haleyville beat Corner. Corner beat Dora. And so, and it was kind of similar that way last year. But, statistically, they're averaging right over 30 a game. They're giving up right over 20 a game. They're big. Their offensive line is one of the more physical ones that we've seen. They like their spread offense, multiple formations. They got a good running back. Quarterback is elusive, but he can make all the throws. And they got an all-state receiver coming back that they use in a lot of different. They move him around kind of like number one from Fort Payne. I mean, they'll put him in the slot some. They'll put him in the backfield some. They'll put him at Wildcat some. And base 3-4 on defense, similar to what Central did, maybe a little bit bigger. Linebackers are a little bit bigger. Secondary guys are longer. And then, they do the things that they want to do extremely well. They're physical in the box. They're going to attack you. They fly around on defense. And so there's somebody that definitely takes full attention because they can beat you. The only teams they've lost are teams that are almost have really, really winning records. They've lost to West Morgan, they lost to Dora, and I think the other one was who did they lost maybe one more to a team that's got a winning record, and so they're not losing to a bunch of slouches, and so they're definitely a good football team. They're well coached, they're disciplined. They run a lot of check on offense and checking into a play and trying to get you to jump off sides, but at the same time seeing how you're lined up and getting a good play in there. And just solid on special teams. They're a solid football team. And to be honest, I know they're going to be prepared and come in here and be a game opponent this Friday.
Yeah, it'll be a tough game regardless. How important is it for your fans to get here early and often and make this a hostile environment for a visiting team, especially in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of where we have the ability to separate ourselves from kind of other venues. Because the rowdier that our fans can get and make it, like we was just talking about them checking into plays. If they can't hear and it's like electric, and it just makes it that much more tougher on opponents. And if home field advantage is not an advantage, then what are we doing? And so, so anyway, there were parts that they had a player go down the other night, and God bless that kid is better. I checked with the coach on Friday, and he was doing a lot better. But when you have a serious injury like that, it's hard for the guys to come back off of stuff like that. And I think it affected the crowd a little bit too. We can be louder. They've got cowbells, and I think somebody had an air horn the other night. And so, I mean, we welcome all the stuff that's legal. That it's not something like we're trying to get anybody in trouble, but I think our fans do a good job of knowing the situation, being locked into the game, knowing on third down when our defense is out there, they need to do their job just like the kids do. And because I promise you this, if our kids aren't doing their job, you're going to hear it from the stands. And so we like to make that kind of a two-way street. So if the kids are doing their job and y'all are sitting there eating popcorn, we're going to let you know too.
Yeah, man. It's now I'm gonna tell you something, Coach. It's kind of off the record, but there's been 3 schools I've been to this year that I do work with, but that have brought in train horns and hooked them to the stadium, and 2 of which got caught and had to remove them.
Yeah,
they had actual train horns. I'm talking about just like hammering.
So there was a kid in the student section that has some kind of drill that's got an air horn on, and he was hitting it, and they finally told him to stop because. Here's what we were told. It sounds like a whistle. Gotcha. A little bit. Now, obviously, I don't know what whistle that is. I mean, it sounds more like a hurricane warning to me. Yeah. But there's enough cowbells. I think our booster club was selling cowbells. Awesome. And then it just, it's fun to like research the communities. I know at Rockmart back in like the 1980s in Georgia, they used to fill up rocks in milk jugs, and they would paint them black and shake them around. Washington Wilkes is where, when I was at Washington Wilkes, they're the ones that had the cowbells. Now, obviously, Mississippi State's well known for them, but my wife painted, when we moved here, she painted our blue and gold cowbell shaker to black and gold. And she's had it ever since, and now I guess it's maybe catching on and somebody's selling them, but we don't really care just as long as it's loud.
As long as it's getting after.
Yes.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you sitting in. We're looking forward to coming back here next Tuesday. And like you said, these guys got to earn their pads back again Monday, or Sunday. I think you guys come in on the weekend, don't you?
Well, it depends on when we play. Gotcha. So last week it was Sunday because we played on Thursday. This week we had to hand them back out on Monday. So hopefully it will be Monday. Hey, it's Thanksgiving week. There's no better feeling to be practicing on Thanksgiving, 100%. So we got to earn it for sure.
The Larry again, Todd's dad, he said it best. He said, "You're still playing football when the grass is dead. You've had a pretty good season." That's
right. The good thing about this is ours never goes brown because it's turf. So that was common before anybody had turf, and so that's an even more blessing is to look at the practice field and see it brown, but then look at the turf and know it's grass and be like, hey, that's a double blessing.
That is true. I never looked at it that way. Well, Coach, we'll God willing, we'll see you here next Tuesday. We're going to try to knock this out all the way through, like we said, to the road to the Blue Map. No pun intended. That's our show that we do live on Tuesday nights. And, Coach, we appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
Go Warriors.